Welcome to YOUCANIC. Today here in YOUCANIC we have a 2016 Dodge Journey. It's got the 3.6 motor and it's a Pentastar motor, so 3.6 Pentastar. So a lot of this procedure will work for any of the Pentastar motors that are in a lot of Dodge products. Now we've read the codes, and this is what I've got on the code, is that I have cylinder 4 injector circuit is open, as well as cylinder 1. So we have cylinder 1 right here, and we'd have cylinder 4 right here, right, on this engine. And so it's telling us that those two cylinders, the injectors aren't working correctly. And then we've got random misfires, which is caused by the fact that the spark isn't working right. So we're going to go over how you would be able to get access to that stuff, and then to be able to replace your injectors. So to get there, we need to pop this cover, and that you just pull off and you get there. Now we have all of this that needs to be removed to get to the fuel rails to be able to replace the injectors. Now to start with, there is one electric connector that's right, this we connected right here. We would just squeeze that and pull that off. We're going to set that aside. And then right down here, to make it easy for you, there are two number 10 nuts right here. We're going to take those off. And then if you follow this bracket down, there is a number 13 that you want to take off. You also want to pop this electric cable out of here. We're taking these two brackets off completely so that when we undo the other bolts up top here, we can be able to pull this all up as one full unit. If not, these will be stuck down. So there's a size 13 bolt at the bottom of the bracket. If you follow it down, it's a bolt slash stud, and then that way you'll be able to remove the bracket as well, as long as you've unhooked these electric connectors that were plugged into it. We're just going to put it behind our oil dipstick there. And the same thing with this one over here. You reach down there, and then again there would be a little electric connector that pops into that, and so we would have pulled that out. Now with that removed, there are two bolts back here that are very similar to that one, that are a number 10, and then there's another one back here, but that one is missing, but you would remove the number 10 that's back here. Or you can reach down and you can undo, there's a 13 here that's going to be just the same as the ones up front there, and you can undo that to make it a little easier to be able to pull this all off. Now other thing we're going to want to do is we have this clamp here for this housing. This is a size number 8, and then we can loosen this, as well as there's a size 8 back there. We have one vacuum line right here to undo, and then we'll push that down there, and then with that undone, then you'll be able to just say pull this whole intake portion off and get that out of the way. Then we have a vacuum line that's up top here. We'll want to pull that off, and again we'll move this out of the way. Gotta get this to hold something. We have an electric connector here that we're going to pull backward and then be able to press and undo, as well as the one that goes to the throttle unit. And then undo that, and then we have a clamp around that vacuum line. And this is one of those electrical clips on that bracket, and then this vacuum line here, I'm going to pop and move that to the side. And now we have those components out of the way. And this is got a little grommet piece that would be there, but that's missing. And so we'll just want to separate it from the throttle body and intake here. And we need to move this out of the way because there is a number 8 bolt that is under it. And so now we have 2, 4, 6, and 7 number 8s that we need to undo to be able to pull this whole intake off, to be able to get to the fuel rail, spark plugs, and the coils, ignition coil. And when we've got those out, then we'll be able to pull this up and out. Just remember that we've got 2 studs on the back here that we undid the number 10s on. Unless you went ahead and undid that number 13 down on the side, what you need to do is you just need to kind of pop it up and be able to pull it forward. You can't pull it straight up because of that bracket. Now we'll be able to remove this whole intake cover, and we set that aside, and then we can pop this little rubber cover off, and now we get access to this. We might as well just pull and remove this out of the way also. And so that would be the process that you do to get to anything down in here, being whether it's your engine coils, all 6 of them, as well as your spark plugs. So this is cylinder 1 and this is cylinder 4. Our odds over here and our evens on this side. So these are the 2 that our fuel injectors are bad, but we've gone ahead and got all the injectors, so we'll just replace them all at the same time. So to start with, just go ahead and undo the electric connectors. These are the ones to the engine coil. And then we have the ones for the actual injector. We just pull the clip back, and then you'll be able to press there's a black connector in there. You press and are able to pull out. So it's got like a double lock on it. So we have the electrics done from the first side. Now we'll go ahead and undo that side. We'll do the same on this side. Okay, now we have the fuel rail to undo. It's going to be a T30. So while we're at it, we're going to unhook the fuel line that goes in here. Probably have a little pressure on it. Just got to pull that clip back, and then we'll be able to pull Okay, So we have a combination there where this one came out completely clean. This one we still have the O-ring that we're going to want to get out of here for when we put the new injector in. And as well as this one. So we'll work our way around and we'll get those all out. And as well as the O-ring that's are stuck in there. From the old injectors. I'm going to make sure we get them all out. The red on the bottom and the blue on the top. And then we'll put the new injectors in and we'll go over the process of putting those in and reinstalling them. We have removed the fuel injectors. We've made sure that we've got all the fuel injectors out. We have all of the O-rings. There should be 6 blue. The last one is right there, 6 blue and 6 red gaskets. Red go into the engine and blue are on the top of the injector. So we make sure that we have all of those out, that they're not stuck in the holes. I have the other 2 injectors over there. They kept separate because one was for cylinder 4 and one was for cylinder 1. So we're just going to replace all the injectors just to make sure that they're all good. And we have our fuel rail and we have everything cleaned up to the best we can so that when we put the new injectors in, that we're going to get a good seal on there. So we have our injectors. I've changed my gloves to have clean gloves. And we're going to take injector 1. This is just silicone spray. It's just a lubricant to lubricate up that O-ring so it'll slide in. There's only one way that these will go in. And it has all these little tabs that will line it up where they need to be. Okay, so we got those all installed. Now we'll pop off all the caps from the bottom one, or the red side. And we'll be able to flip this up and over. Now we'll want to take the electric lines go under the fuel rail. So we just want to make sure that they're sitting there. Flip this 180 degrees. Be able to line those all up. Line this side all up. And place those in there, and then we have our 4 bolts here to hold the fuel rails down. 2 on the front and 2 on the back. Okay, so we've got those all installed. We've got the bolts tight. We're not going crazy tight with them. I just want to have them good and snug. It's plastic into plastic. Hold that all down. Now we can go ahead and start reconnecting the electric connectors. Press them in, then press the red clip to lock it into place. Here, snap, press that. Snap, press that, and then you can go ahead and connect the engine coil up on this side. We've got our little connectors here. Just press those in. And then we'll do Same with this back one. Connector. Press till click, snap in. Okay. Press those these connectors back in. We'll hold everything in place. Press those all in. Then, when you're done with all of that, you'll go ahead and put new gaskets in here. Put your top cover back on. But once you get down to here and you've got everything that you need to do under here, we're going to put new rubber gaskets in here so that when we bolt on the intake, we shouldn't, to minimize any leaks. So these you just pop out, just a little rubber gasket. We just have paper towels in here to stop any large debris or bolts losing them down into the cylinders there. And so we've removed these. I'm going to toss those and we'll replace them with the new ones. They're just as simple as lining up and pressing them into the groove there. And we'll do that for all 6 cylinders. Okay, we've got those all put in. Now we'll be ready to start putting some of the components back in. So we got this portion. We should have 2 rubber grommets. They are missing on this one. There's this one here. And then, like I said, these 2 holes here line up with these tabs back here. But the rubber grommets are missing, and so we just do our best to get those to go on there, and it'll sit there, and then when we put the other portion of the intake in there, we'll just have to attach it up here. So that's sitting there. We have this little cover that was on there, so we'll put that back on. That sits like that, and now we'll be able to, I'm gonna move that back a little bit. We'll be able to put the actual intake piece on with the throttle body attached to it. We've got these 2 bolts that we're gonna get the studs to go under, so kind of at an angle, and then bring it down, and then we got the brackets that will bolt on the front here. And so before we put that intake on, make sure that we pull out our paper towels, and so that air can flow to the cylinders. We've got our 7 bolts that sit right there. They will kind of drop down, so you're going to need to do a little bit of moving. And like I said, we got these 2 studs that we want to go. We're pretty lined up there. There are 2 little nub tabs on there that indent in there, and so it's lined up. And now we will go ahead and tighten these down in a good crisscross pattern. These only tight to a 7.9 Newton meters of torque, so basically just very slight hand tight. So we're just going to use a nut driver. And we're just bringing the, because we put those new rubber gaskets in there, we're just bringing the plastic tight to the next plastic and the rubber gasket wheel. So we've tightened the 7 bolts here on the intake, which there's 2, 4, 6, and a 7th one right down here. And those are just a good hand tight, not crazy. Just use a nut driver, and now that's good and tightened. Now, in the we have a bracket or two that go on. They go on the front here. We've got this stud that sticks out, as well as a stud right here that sticks out, and then we have a 13mm bolt stud that goes in down here, and put that on. And then these electric lines will be able to click into that. And so here is the bracket, and this goes down like this. We get that on there, and then we have our size 13 stud slash bolt. And then there's a number 10 nut that goes on the top here onto the stud that's mounted to that. And we have the same thing over here. We have another bracket to put down. And another 13 slash stud nut. Okay. And then another number 10 up here on the top. Then we also have one more number 10 back here. Well, there's actually 2. I'm missing the one. So, or it wasn't here. So we're just going to do the best with tightening with one. So that's all the hardware that holds everything on right here for this component. The rest is just a bunch of hose connections and intakes. So I'm going to tighten these real fast, and then we'll get to putting all the other hoses and stuff on. Okay, so those are tight. Now I got this electric, you just push it in there. There's a hole, just a connector to hold it away from the engine and to hold it from moving all over the place. Now over here on the top we have we have a vacuum line right here that goes right into the back of this intake. I'm going to put that in, and then we've got another vacuum line that goes on the top here. That into place. And we've got some electric lines here. That we'll put into place. You've just got a clip here, clip to the map sensor, and double lock it. And then we have this is the electric that comes over for our throttle body, the drive-by-wire system. And we lock that into place. So between here and the throttle body, we have a rubber gasket. So this needs to go on that side. We work that in. There is one electric connector on this side to snap into place. And now we put the main tubes in on the the intake there. Okay, so we have this tube with a size 8 on this clamp, and this is kind of an oval clamp, and then we're going to connect this up here. Make sure that we've connected. We have this vacuum line that is going to go right here into the back, and we'll put that vacuum line after we put this on because it goes up and over the top. And that clipped together, you've got that 8mm clamp or a flathead screwdriver to tighten this clamp. So we've got that one tight, and we've got that last we've got this clamp here that goes into the air box, and that's also the 8mm to tighten that clamp. And then don't forget this this vacuum line. It's just going to come up and over, and there is one connection right there. And we just connect that vacuum line there. A little rubber bushing, so for vibration it doesn't. So that is the installation of our intake on our 3.6 Pentastar motor. And now you can, to finish it off, you would just go ahead and put your cover back on, line up the grommets, and snap it on to place. Thanks for watching YOUCANIC, where you can be the mechanic.